What if I told you that several countries are silently preparing for war with Russia? While the world's attention is focused on Ukraine, there's a growing number of nations taking major steps behind the scenes. From military buildup to strategic alliances, these countries are bracing for a possible showdown. But what exactly are they doing, and why aren't we hearing about it? In the next few minutes, we'll break down the countries that are quietly getting ready for what could be a global conflict. Stay tuned. 1. Poland. Poland is no stranger to conflict. Throughout history, it has faced invasions from all sides, Russia included. But in 2024, Poland is gearing up like never before. Why? The fear of Russian expansion in Eastern Europe has pushed Poland into action. It's not just talk. Poland is investing heavily in its military. First off, the defense budget. Poland's government has pledged to double defense spending by 2027. That's a clear signal to both Russia and NATO. The country is not just worried about its security, it's preparing for an all-out confrontation. They've started purchasing F-35 fighter jets, some of the most advanced stealth aircraft on the market. Why? To maintain air superiority if war breaks out. But it's not just about planes. Poland has also brought in HIMARS multiple rocket launcher systems, the kind that can strike deep into enemy territory. Along with that, they're upgrading their tank units, reinforcing their infantry with modernized armor and equipment. They're preparing for a ground war, a war that could spill over from Ukraine into the rest of Eastern Europe. Poland isn't just relying on its own forces either. The country is a key NATO ally and has allowed the alliance to station more troops on its soil. NATO battle groups are being deployed to Poland, and the country's airspace has seen increased NATO flights, including U.S. bombers and fighter jets. With Russia's unpredictable moves, Poland has no choice but to be ready. Poland has been vocal about Russia's threat to the region. The government constantly urges NATO to act swiftly and decisively, and with the growing military buildup on its borders, Poland is bracing for a potential confrontation that could change the course of history. The question is, will NATO's response be enough, or will Poland have to face Russia head-on? 2. Finland. Finland's story is one of transformation. For decades, it maintained neutrality, keeping a distance from military alliances. But Russia's invasion of Ukraine changed everything. Finland, which shares a long border with Russia, saw the writing on the wall and made a historic decision, joining NATO in 2023. But joining NATO is just one part of Finland's strategy. They've been rapidly modernizing their military in preparation for the possibility of direct conflict with Russia. The Finnish armed forces are being equipped with new technologies and weapons, and their defense strategies are being revamped to counter Russia's growing threat. The country has also been increasing its defense cooperation with NATO and other European allies. Finnish military personnel are being integrated into joint exercises, strengthening their interoperability with Western forces. They've been increasing stockpiles of ammunition, weapons, and critical resources needed for wartime operations. Finland's proximity to Russia and the country's vast forests and rugged terrain make it a key strategic location for defense. Finland is working hard to ensure that if Russia ever threatens its borders, it will be met with a well-prepared and formidable defense. 3. Sweden. Sweden, another historically neutral country, has been quietly preparing for the possibility of conflict with Russia. In response to Russia's actions in Ukraine, Sweden is investing heavily in its military infrastructure. Sweden's military is one of the most technologically advanced in the world, and they are continuing to modernize their forces. They've invested in new air defense systems and are upgrading their stock of fighter jets. But what's really noteworthy is Sweden's commitment to strengthening its defense alliances. In 2023, Sweden joined NATO's Partnership for Peace program, signaling a shift towards closer military cooperation with Western powers. Sweden's geographic location, bordering the Baltic Sea, makes it a key player in the region. They've been increasing military exercises in the area, preparing for potential conflict scenarios in the Baltic region. Sweden has also increased its military presence on the island of Gotland, an important strategic position in the Baltic Sea, due to concerns over Russian naval activity. Beyond military upgrades, Sweden has been expanding its defense spending and modernizing its overall defense strategy. They are also engaging in more joint military training with NATO forces and other European countries, signaling a clear shift away from neutrality toward a more proactive stance in regional security. 5. Ukraine. Ukraine is, of course, the central focus in the battle with Russia. But what's happening on the ground in Ukraine right now is part of a much larger strategy. While the world has seen Ukraine's desperate defense against Russia's invasion, behind the scenes, Ukraine is preparing for the long haul. Ukraine has been rapidly upgrading its military infrastructure, from new weapon systems to advanced training programs for its troops. The country is receiving significant military aid from the West, including advanced weapons like anti-tank missiles, drones, and artillery systems. But Ukraine isn't just sitting back waiting for help, it's actively transforming its military to counter Russia's overwhelming force. The Ukrainian government has been focusing on improving the coordination of its armed forces and enhancing its intelligence capabilities. Ukraine's recent success in retaking territory from Russian forces has been partly attributed to its growing technological capabilities and improved battlefield tactics. Ukraine has also been preparing for the next phase of conflict. The country is laying the groundwork for what could become a war of attrition, planning long-term strategies to counter Russia's larger forces. This includes fortifying key cities, strengthening defensive lines, and preparing for a possible Russian counteroffensive. It's clear that Ukraine is preparing not just for survival, but for victory. The support from Western allies is crucial, but Ukraine is taking steps to ensure it can hold its ground, even if that support wanes. Across Eastern Europe, countries are quietly gearing up for what could be a major conflict with Russia. From Poland's massive military buildup to Ukraine's strategic upgrades, these nations are not sitting back. They see the threat, and they're preparing for it. As tensions rise and the stakes grow higher, these countries are making sure they are ready for whatever comes next. What do you think? Will these nations be able to deter Russia, or is war inevitable? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis. Hit the bell icon to stay updated